I'm very excited this afternoon to welcome Jim Murray from A.K. Rikks. Those of you who have made it out to Grand Rapids know that it's one of the most beautiful stores in the country, and Jim is one of the most outspoken retailers that I know. He never hesitates to say what's wrong, what could be better, what mistakes he's made, what he's learned, and we're going to talk a little bit about all of this and his journey and what other stores can learn from his experience. So Jim, welcome.
Thank you.
And let me start with the first obvious question, and that's how did you get into this business? What in your past led you to be a retailer?
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate everybody wanting to hear our story. My story of getting into retail isn't that interesting. I had a mom that liked to shop, but we shop sale, and I knew that there was a better experience for shoppers than what we put up with, I think. And I would shop with my friends who got to shop retail. Their experience was amazing. And I thought, this is really bizarre. And there was just missed opportunities. And I just knew that I could do a better job in retail than what I went through when I was a child. So that's how I got into retail.
Okay, and what about how A.K. Rikks in particular? How did that project evolve?
So in 1986, our owner, Richard Gaby, he started A.K. Rikks just out of a need. Grand Rapids, Michigan is a very small city, especially at the time, but it didn't have any high-end men's luxury. So 86, he started it. He's definitely a visionary and has been my mentor. He had a van delivery service to your house in the late 80s. Eventually, later in the 2000s, we brought on women's and more contemporary business. And now, for the last 8 years, we've had a 28,000 square foot store with a 2,500 square foot dedicated event space, which I think is the most important thing to a retail store.
Okay, can we start a little bit with how business is now, the state of menswear, what you think the challenges are and what changes you're making?
Yes.
A big subject, I realize.
Yeah, I think our market is in absolute flux. I don't think it's in turmoil, but I think it's in flux because there's many changing aspects of how people shop, why people shop. We're busier as people. So I believe that we have to know who we are and who our client is and really slim down who that client is, who we're speaking to, so we have true empathy. So when we're here, we're really truly buying for just a small fraction of really who we're helping. There's way too many opportunities, target markets, segmentation that we're all trying to feed. And I think the more we slim down who we are as a brand, multi-brand store, I think it's easier for a client to identify, and then it's easier to speak to that client with what we buy, the events we throw, the added value that we give those clients. But I think trying to be all things or even 5 things in today's market, I think is an opportunity for someone to walk into your store and say, this is unfamiliar.
I remember discussing this with you recently, Jim, and you said that you kind of thought because it was getting so much press and because your core customers had kids who maybe would be teenagers and interested in it, you would bring it in, and yet it turned out that for your particular store, it didn't work out the way you were hoping.
I think knowing who we are is the best thing in menswear. I believe streetwear was something that threw us all for a loop. I think it even threw the streetwear and the skate shops for a loop. I mean, who would have thought the last 3 years would be this? But think back 10 years, Barney's Co-op, you had all these other things that revolved around denim, and who'd have thought you would have sold 200 pairs of denim a week? Now, it's just now part of our DNA. But streetwear was definitely a disruptor and something that I wish I had a take back on that one, big time.
I think also one thing you mentioned to me is that some of your core brands, the Xenia in particular, and Cucinelli, and some were incorporating some streetwear influences into their collections. So it's not that your customer totally rejected it; they wanted it from their brands that they knew and loved.
Correct, and that was the interesting thing is I could have actually done streetwear with the designers that I was actually carrying. You know, by like a simple pleated pant from Brunello Cucinelli, or by some of these other pieces that were actually offered that just had a nod to what advanced contemporary looks like in our current market. But instead I went all the way advanced and bought it from other places. So I think sticking to our core and that being a very big deal.